training with basically the gypsy king of the group, so the other lead. I've seen so much failure. I've been bullied, and I'm not asking for a sob story. I'm not saying give me sympathy or anything like that. This family, when I was in my fighting career, always so supportive, and they were mega success. They had their own recruitment company. They dealt with warehouses and all this years. Live every day of your work career and your personal life with the passion you've got for your dream.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in today. This week's episode is brought to you in conjunction with Upskilled and their mini MBA. If you want to get the skills and knowledge to help move you forward without all of the big expense, then this mini MBA with Upskilled is the right way to go. Follow the link in the show notes and you can get $500 off. Brad, welcome to the show. Great to have you on here today.
Cheers, Ryan. Thank you for having us. Thank you for inviting me on.
Oh, all good, all good. I always like chatting with those with a bit of an entrepreneurial edge and flair to what they find in that life after or in and around sport, certainly in your case. So looking forward to breaking down a little bit your journey and figuring out some of the lessons that you've learned along the way too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, Brad.
Others.
Oh, mate, it will be. No worries at all. Listen, as I always say, I'm sure that I'll enjoy our conversation and I'll take something away. And selfishly, if that happens, then I'm good.
As long as we all benefit, mate, we're all good, aren't we? I'm sure I'll take away from today as well.
Mate, I certainly hope so too. So listen, for those who are listening and watching and hearing you and your name for the first time, just tell us who are you and what you're up to nowadays?
So my name is Brad Stanton. I'm a former world champion, retired now, and I'm living in Abu Dhabi. I've been living in Abu Dhabi, the United Arab Emirates, for the last 7 years, and I came over here as a personal trainer. That then obviously COVID hit, and funnily enough, my wife got made redundant in her job, so we decided to open a Thai boxing gym in the middle of COVID, which you'd think was the worst idea to do, which actually became a really successful idea. Because of the limitations and stuff as well, we actually really got to focus with the athletes. So we ended up becoming like in the top 3 of the UAE for youth athletes, which I think about 8 of them now represent the UAE for Muay Thai, one being my stepson. So yeah, he now gets jetted around as an Emirati representing the UAE for Muay Thai and kickboxing and stuff. So it kind of worked in favour of being in COVID because we got to experience life at a more closed in, more personal level, you know.
Yeah, a bit more sedate in some respects, and like you say, a bit more personal. Because I mean, I know I'm jumping in, but it is very counterintuitive, counter-cyclical, whatever you'd want to call it, to set up a gym.
It was a huge move, and we were actually during that time of construction. Me and my wife, we actually went to Egypt to get married, so we had to come back and do the whole 10 days quarantine and everything. At the same time, we're monitoring everything of the construction remotely, doing all the permissions and stuff. And it actually went really smoothly. And we had a great opening. We did well for like 2 years, and then it got a little bit political. I got burnt out, which is one of my big lessons today, which I'm definitely going to be speaking about, because the brand kind of just relied on me. And it should never have been that from day one. It should never have been the case, but it happened. Lessons learned. I kind of went quiet.
When you say relied, what do you mean was relied on you?
It kind of it became to the point where that classes only conducted by me were the only ones being attended. And then parents would be like, where's Coach Brad? Why is he not teaching the kids no more? because I kind of took on like a national role of like helping, like we kind of got like subcontracted to take care of the national team fighters, like a group, excuse me, a group of them. So I took care of them for several months at a time, and then obviously went back to the public, and then I had to go back to taking care of them and stuff. And obviously, when you're representing the national team, you know, being an athlete yourself, you take a lot of pride in it. So your energy
Yeah.
gets consumed by that, and then
Mhm.
obviously it happened, and then my my coaches that were helping me, which were assisting me, it wasn't the sense of that. It's not Coach Brad, and I'm not saying I'm the be all and end all. I'm the most perfect coach. I'm not, but your personality rubs off when you're coaching. Your energy, the way you talk. You know, I'm from Darlington, a very small town in the UK, so we're, you know, and then I moved to Leeds in West Yorkshire, so I was literally grown. My hard work was literally get out in the pouring rain, in the lightning and thunderstorms and everything, and run, and don't complain. So that energy brushed off into my coaching style, and it kind of became a disciplinary situation where the parents would say, "Look, I need you to fix my kid."
Right.
So I was balancing between the national team, helping the national team, and then helping kids with discipline and reaching levels of obesity and stuff like that. There, I ended up getting burnt out, and it
Yeah.
couldn't. There was only one of me, and you know, when that happened, the business started to go down, and I just couldn't bring it back. I couldn't bring it back, so I just said to my wife, like, look, let's just close the doors and revisit it when the time comes right, you know.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it was the best thing to do, to be honest, because literally I had no life, Ryan. I had no life. I wasn't able to sit and have meals with my family, you know, and obviously I've got three stepkids. I've got my own little boy now with all the teddies in the background and whatnot. Yeah, sure. And like I was just losing time, so I was just like, look, I'm not even a 1% of what I was when I first came to the country. So I think it's just time we need to walk away from this and just enjoy, accept for what it is, you know.
What a brave decision. And I guess it's one I definitely want to come back in and just sort of understand some of the mechanics around it. But I guess before that, I want to get a bit more context on you and your life. Like you were saying just there, you know, world champion. Before we go into that, I want to come back into, as you were just saying, where you were born, where you were brought up, and obviously you know, fully biased to wonderful Leeds, but I'm interested in sport for you as a kid. How did you get into, I'll just say, martial arts and combat sports in general? But where did it begin?
So how it started was my dad was in the navy, and he was an ex boxer in the navy and all this stuff. Always an athlete, literally. He ended up leaving boxing, going into cycling, and this was like back in the 60s. Ended up being like the fastest quarter mile in cycling, British record and all that stuff. So it kind of got this. The athleticism of our family was literally a pillar of our family. You were not allowed to not be lazy. No, sorry, you were not allowed to be lazy. Sorry, you were not allowed to be sat down for more than 2 hours. And my dad wasn't strict. You know, my dad didn't even. I think my dad like slapped me once because I was kicking the back of his driving chair while he was driving. Like, you know, but he was never a harsh guy.
Yeah.
But the level of discipline what he instilled in us was phenomenal, and we had to take care of ourselves, and we had to be able to stand up for ourselves. And me being the third son, I kind of became a little bit of the soft one during my younger years. So I got bullied, and you know, but up north, I don't know if you know the north of England, but there's a lot of gypsies, a lot of Romanian gypsies and travellers and stuff, you know. Uh, and they come in like a gang, man. Once they're in, they're in,
Yeah.
man. You can't root them out of them. You can't deroot them. But they were a great bunch of people. But the teenagers, obviously, what
Yeah.
happens is life, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I got bullied, but
Yeah.
I was all right about it because my brother Zach, he was boxing at the time, so he ended up becoming like amateur boxing association champion, looking at getting scouted by Amir Khan and all this stuff. You know, again, it runs in the family, so he was going to the boxing gym and basically kicking the crap out of the gypsies who were bullying me. So I was like, look, if I can withstand the pain of getting a few punches and slaps in the changing room at PE, I know they're going to get 10 times worse because my brother's going to go protect me and stand up for our family, you know. But one day I came back from school and I got a black eye. One of the gypsies like basically like football kicked me in the head
Yeah.
in the room, and I got a black eye. My dad was like, who did that? So Zach said like, look, you might as well tell him. You've got to be honest about it. So I told him. I was like, right, okay, I've been getting bullied, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
My dad was training with the gypsy king of the group. So
Yeah.
they have a leader, right? He was training with the big boss of the group, and he went to him and he was like, right, your boy's a bully, my boy. How do we fix this? And he was like, well, let's fix it like men. You know, get your boy ready. We'll have a fight. Blah blah blah.
Hmm.
My cousins at the time were doing Thai boxing. I didn't want to go into boxing because obviously I'd have to spar against the ones who were already kicking my ass anyways.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll go do Thai boxing. And for about 6 weeks, man, I hated it. I hated it. But then I realised once I got into a sparring match, got put into sparring by a coach and against one of the fighters, and I'm southpaw, so I'm left-handed. So
Yeah.
I stand my right foot forward. So it's a very unorthodox way of fighting when you come across. If you're right-handed and you can
Yeah.
fight against everything switched,
Yeah.
you will think my left hand's coming first, but it's my right hand, and my left kick is not as powerful as it should be. But my left
Mm.
kick's my baby. And if I could
Yeah.
insure this one limb, I would insure my left leg and that, you know. I ended up landing a kick, and I was like, whoa! I was put back by myself, you know. I was like, holy shit, man! I actually landed a kick. Obviously, from there, my confidence grew. I ended up jumping. I ended up taking care of the whole bullying situation, and then I had 4 fights under the coach in Darlington. Then I went to Thailand, met the
Yeah.
coach who I spent the next 12 years of my life with,
Right. Wow.
and what my mum and dad had separated at that point. So I was like, look, I don't really want to go to university. I'm so much in love with Thai boxing. I'm going
Yeah.
to move to Leeds. So I moved to
Wow.
Leeds. Sorry, we'll
What?
backtrack a little bit. My dad, sorry, one second. My dad, for about 6 weeks, drove back and forth from Leeds every day to take me to training, which
Yeah.
is like an hour and 20 minutes drive. He'd sit there and watch me train for 2 hours and then drive back, and then I'd obviously go to college the next day, blah blah blah, get on with it and do the same thing. Coach offered me a fight for like, he's like, do you want to come live with me for 2 weeks, and you can fight in the Bolton football stadium,
Right.
which at that time was the Reebok Arena.
Yeah.
So I fought an absolute, I had a war. I was 16. I fought like a 19-year-old. It
Yeah.
was like badass, fighting like bare knuckle, fighting competition, fighting championship and everything. Good
Yeah.
friends actually, probably one of my only friends now. Um, and then that was it. I didn't look back. I was hitting like 13 fights a year, going to spend time in Thailand, fighting in Thailand. What I think I fought for, I got the British champion when I was a 17-year-old. I got the Commonwealth champion when I was 19-year-old. I fought in several tournaments, and then I got the world title around 24. Um, but
Wow.
things kind of got crazy then, because then my dad, obviously, if you can hear,
What? What?
if you've got the
What?
gist of the story.
Hi. I want to take this moment to thank Upskilled and their mini MBA for sponsoring this week's session. One of the great things about their mini MBA is it allows you to gain the skills and knowledge to help propel you that little bit further forward. It gets you understanding the vocabulary in the room and also gives you some of those skills to navigate the corporate career, the government career, or indeed stepping into not-for-profit. So big thanks for Upskilled and the mini MBA for sponsoring this week. And hey, check it out. Link in the show notes. You can get $500 off. Just, I mean, before stepping into that, because you're describing the craziness comes next. I think you've just, for me, described several crazy stories in that. But what I'm getting is you emerged from from bullying, basically protecting yourself, and the bit that I'm still going with is the two parents, the two dads thought, kid's getting bullied. Let's train him up for 6 weeks and then let him get in a ring and then have a fight after that.
It
Curious.
wasn't in the ring. It was outside in the garden.
Wow. So then you had your Thai style against what I'm guessing was a more, I'll say, traditional boxing style. Um, did did the bullying stop after that, or was there some continue? I mean, that was it. Everyone agreed. Boom, done.
Completely stopped with these guys. I can go back to Darlington right now and I've checked like family. When I was in Leeds and my sister was like obviously grew of age and she was going to town and stuff. If my sister was getting like a little bit like flirted with and all that, and like I was getting courted on and all that stuff, the lads would step in and say, "Look, you don't do that. She's one of us. She's one of us. You don't do that type of thing." Honestly, they're a band of brothers. I swear to God, they're
Yeah.
amazing people.
Wow. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you get on the wrong
Yeah.
side of the situation, isn't it?
Yeah. I think every cliche that comes to mind,
still,
but it.
still, I still
Yeah.
talk to some today. I still talk to some of them to this day. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, fair call, because again, what I'm hearing here is there is this earned respect, and it sounds like you say, even from that first fight at the Reebok, um, there's a respect amongst those who you're fighting with, and so whilst what you're in is this combat sport, it, it it's not reckless, is what I'm hearing. Well, it is something where you then went committed and became world class, right?
Yeah. It's not. It's really not reckless. It's not even a brutal sport. It's a very disciplined sport. It's a very technical sport, and I think it doesn't get the recognition why it needs. But in terms of like doing it as a hobby or to help your lifestyle and stuff, like it's phenomenal, man. It's really well. I've made my career around it. I've made my business around it. My children now do it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm in my toddler's room, and he's got his little blow up boxing bag over there, and he knows when he
I was.
sees it, and I'm telling him to get on with it. He goes to
Yeah.
the boxing bag. I don't
Yeah.
force it, but it's just naturally there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean,
it,
this
it,
the, that in itself is, I think, is quite interesting, and the fact that it's become a part of you. Hated it at the start, you mentioned, but it really became a part of you. I am interested. I ask everyone this question. So, whilst you were doing, coming up through the ages, like you say, 16, 18, 19, or did you? What about school? You said you went to college. What were you studying? What was going on in your life outside, academically, outside of fighting?
it's because I was getting bullied. I hated school. I ended up being on like what 42% attendance, and it wasn't until my coach turned around and said, "Look, get your act together," in a polite way. Get your act together or you don't fight. And obviously, because I'd love fighting so much, I was just like, okay, I'll do it. I managed to pull like B's and stuff in my GCSEs, and then I went. And then he was like, right, okay, go to college. You don't fight unless you go to college. So I went to college for fitness instructing and sports education in teaching youth and children.
Yeah.
And it was more so I should have carried on with it, to be honest, Ryan. I really should have carried on with it, but I loved fighting so much, and I managed to get around 7 sponsorships, and
Hmm.
I was living a life where I was just like, gosh, this is what it's like to be an athlete,
Yeah.
you know. Like, so I'd like been like I was sponsored by a catering company that what catered to Michelin star restaurants. Sponsored by a barbershop called King Kobe Chop Shop in Leeds that went to like Manchester, Newcastle. Them two guys alone were amazing. Then I was sponsored by a strength and conditioning and a gym in Sheffield. He now works for a company called Boxing Science. His name's Lee Rickards. He is phenomenal. If anybody is watching this and they want to deal with a diet and they want a diet to be easy and they want the diet to be like in a sense of that you're not bored of it, go find Lee Rickards. What a guy! I can't. There's thousands of dietitians and nutritionists, but this guy knows what he's doing. He got me down to 4.8 body fat, and I was knocking people out left and centre. And I'm not exactly a big set look. I'm not a big set person, but I'm telling you, my
Yeah.
diet changed. That guy, he dealt with my strength and conditioning and my nutrition, and he just changed my game.
Hmm. Yeah. So
So
you essentially were able to turn pro with
yeah,
the sponsorships. You got
yeah,
great people in your corner. It sounds like who then really helped you physically to to be fight ready, and that then made, I guess, that difference for you, that overall difference for you in terms of, well, it sounds like leaving college behind and going full time professional.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And look, by what you're
It,
telling me,
at that
career
time,
continued.
it was the best thing to do
Yeah.
for
So
me.
tell me about that. Why, as you look back, and I know it's a bit distorted, but why did you feel that was the best thing to do then?
Thai boxing wasn't massive then, but it was growing, and I had the sense of, again, I had the sponsorships. You know, I I could focus on what I wanted to do. Man, I was what, like 20-year old. All I was doing was training, going back home, playing on Call of Duty, waking up the next day and getting on with my training again. And I was eating like a king. Like I said, these guys were the company, the catering company is called Wellox, and man, the food was amazing. Oh, I wish I could eat. It was fully organic. There was no chemicals, nothing, no GMO, anything. You name it. It was pristine. The stuff when he was sending me, if I had in my diet, for example, or if I had steak, for example, twice in my diet in a week, he would send me the steak, the best steak he could get his hands on, and then as an alternative, he would send me venison. He was like, "This is better in protein and it's lower fat content. And looking at your diet and all that stuff, you would be better suitable with this." And it wasn't just like this little bit, just because my diet said, "Okay, I have 120 grams of venison." Man, you're talking like I was getting like 2 kilos of venison just because, you know.
Well,
And
you had the best possibly
oh,
possible.
I had the best outcomes at times,
Yeah.
and obviously it was it. I was just doing good. I was in Muscle and Fitness magazine. I was what you call it. I was going on TV. I was in newspapers. I was my social media was absolutely fire. One of my sponsors was like, I won't delve into what he did because it's not the best way to talk about it, but like he knew how to market. He
Hmm.
knew how to market something what had nothing to it.
Yeah.
And at that time, Thai boxing was still growing. If you look at like one championship now, and Rajadam now World Series, these get millions and millions of views.
Yeah.
The, he was at that time millions of views was not possible, but I was getting like up to 600,000 followers on my Instagram. It was insane. Starting taking
And
paid advertisements and stuff. I was like, well, this is a business.
yeah.
Why would I go to
And
college?
well, well. So here's the thing, right? Did you recognize? Did you see it as a business for you at that point, or
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you
I think
recognize
I was
you're
quite.
in.
Yeah. My mum still wanted me to go to university and stuff, and I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm making money. I'm learning. I've already become somewhat of an entrepreneur, and I'm investing in myself. And if I'm one of them. I'm that type of guy where if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I know it's easy to say that, but I've seen so much failure. I've been bullied, and I'm not asking for a sob story. I'm not saying give me sympathy or anything like that there, but I'm going to make it to the point where that you think, holy shit, I know that guy, but I actually bullied that guy. So now I don't want anyone envious of me. Don't want anyone jealous of me, but I'm not. I said I would be remembered. So
Yeah.
that's what it was.
And look for
Um,
you. It came through. You followed that journey. You became world champion. 24. At which point you're saying it goes? At which point you're saying it goes crazy?
Yeah. Well, my dad got diagnosed with dementia and Alzheimer's, which I kind of, in the back of my head, I kind of knew he had something wrong with him, but I was just living so much in the moment. I was happy seeing my dad. My dad used to make me run 28 kilos every morning, and he would be on the bike next to me. So he knew that was his routine. So I kind of just didn't accept that he was sick. He didn't have this illness.
Right.
And if I did accept it, I could have helped it. Maybe he could be alive today. Who knows? I don't know. It's not my decision to make. It's not my opinion. What's happened has happened. But it got to the point where this guy was like sleeping on the street, and I was just like, how I need to help him. So, I was with a specific person, and that person didn't like how I was stopping my fighting and said some really bad things about me, to the point where when I came back from the UAE, I got arrested for such accusations and stuff. Obviously, I've been proven not guilty now, but the big problem was my dad. My dad was bad. This man was 70-odd-year-old, and he was just muscle. He was so disciplined, and he was quite spiritual, and he was always like motivated, and he was always there for me. Not saying my mother wasn't, by the way. I'm just, obviously the key point is my dad. It kind of took half of me out of the boxing ring, because I'd associated winning, I'd associated fighting, I'd associated training camps with my dad. I think that my psychological state was like, shit, my dad's sick. Can I still be who I am as he's like this? Yeah. And I couldn't accept it. And I said, look, I'm going to retire. I'm going to take a break. And I just walked away from Thai boxing. I had one last fight in Leeds. Fought a local guy called Joe Craven. I won the fight, and just was like, yeah, see you later.
Wow.
Moved again, and then my dad got worse rapidly, and then you're talking 2 years. I'd cared for him for about 6 months, and it just got to the point where I couldn't care for him. He needed professional help. But again, excuse me, again, being an athlete himself and a former Navy, he was too disciplined to accept help, So he kind of went into living a life with this girlfriend he had, just going to the pubs at Wetherspoons and whatnot, drinking himself to sleep type of thing, and I couldn't help him. Mm-hmm. And my dad was one of these people, like, if I'm ever sick and you can't help me, walk away. Right. Mm-hmm. He was like, it was quite weird how he didn't want to accept weakness or sickness or anything like that. He said, if I ever get cancer, put a bullet in me. Like this, it was this old school type mindset. Just like, I don't know what to do. So
what did that mean for you then? Because you stopped fighting because you got this sense that you had another calling. You were there. It was time for you to go support your dad. Did you get chance to miss fighting? Did you competing? Did you get a chance to miss it, or were you too busy caring for your dad?
Not really. I think my heart and my mind, even my soul, however you would say it, would be like, I think that skipped it because it knew, like, I had to take care of my dad, or I had to do something. So I think I've just skipped that part of missing fighting. Do I miss fighting now? Yeah, I do, because all I know is fighting, and I don't know if I can ever be the man what I should be without fighting. It's quite a hard one to admit, but it is what it is, isn't it? These are the cards what life have played. So
yeah, if I understand what you're saying is you fighting is a part of what you do. That competing is part of what you do. Yeah.
But I did realise at one point, though, Ryan. Sorry to interrupt you. I took a contract fighting in Thailand. I'd had about 3 years out, and it wasn't in my heart no more. It just wasn't. I didn't have that.
Yeah,
I didn't have that killing no more. I wasn't to the point where that I'll take a knee. I mean, there's literally video. The final fight I had was against like the stadium champion, and I was like shouting at him, going like banging on my chest. I was like, "Is this all you've got? You're not gonna knock me out. I'm not gonna take a knee," type of thing. That part of me still is there, but that fight, the part of me to to go and try and hurt someone to win, it just isn't there no more. It's I think I've exhausted it. You know.
You, you think you exhausted it as if there was, well, for you, what? Well, yeah, what do you mean by that?
And I thought, like, what you got to think, like, I've had like I started professionally fighting when I was 16-year-old. You know, like me and my coaches were lying about it. I was meant to be 18, but we're like, well, yeah, okay, you know. um, and I was having like 10 to 13 fights a year. I mean, in one night I had 4 fights. Was it 4 fights or
Oh,
3? You know, I was in a tournament. I had 3 fights in one night, and I was just like walking through them like it was nothing. You know, but again, that burnout, mate. I think I just was like, I've done. I can't. I don't know if I can do any more. I want to. I want to, but kind of. I need to be honest with you. You need to. You need to be honest with yourself at one point in your life. Go, can I be that 24-year-old world champion at
mm.
32-year-old, getting back in the ring and going, I'm going to smash someone up.
So
Just
what made you go back? It's in Thailand then. What made you jump back in?
well, me and my wife, we ended up closing the gym, and like I was burnt out. To be honest, you could say I got depressed. I got depressed.
So
Not,
let's wind.
not
So
clinically, but my wife noticed it, and she was like, "You need to go to Thailand and go fix yourself." And then literally the next day, I got offered a contract to go for 3 months,
yeah.
uh, uh, go fight in this tournament because I had a decent record. Like what I think it was like 86% win streak. So I was like, okay. They were like, "Yeah, we'll take him on, even though he's not had a fight for 3 years
Hmm.
or whatever, how long it was."
World champion. I think the name was known. But let me get the timing. Let me get the timing right. So when you stopped competing first time, right? World champion, walked away, big decision.
Yeah.
Took care of you. Unfortunately, your dad has passed, right? Right. What were you doing life then? Is that when the gym came, or how did you know
No,
what?
I ended up working in a warehouse for Superdry. Yeah, mate. Yeah,
You-
I ended up working in a warehouse. So basically, I was with this person. Well, obviously, I don't really want to go into it because my life's
Mhm.
past that now. I've grown from it and I've understood it. I get it. But I was with this family when I was in my fighting career was always so supportive, and they were mega successful. They had their own recruitment company. They dealt with warehouses and all this here stuff. And I went to her and I was like, "Look, I need your help. Can you get me a job?" I ended up working in a job in a warehouse for Superdry, and I was smashing it. Again, obviously, I dived into it. Within 4 weeks, they were like, "Oh, do you want to go into a management course so you can become a manager and all this here stuff?" And I was like, "Ah, "No, I don't really want to." And I kept on getting offers to go to the UAE
To do what?
to teach Thai boxing as a personal trainer,
Mhm.
and I kept on saying no because I don't know why. I don't know why I kept on saying no, but I did. And then
Mhm.
I realized, like, obviously, during this time of me just jumping from job to job, waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning to go do this warehouse 12-hour shift, it was just like, what am I doing with myself? How am I a guy who used to have thousands of people roaring and cheering my name to
Yeah.
hearing over a tannoy your speaker system, Brad, come to the office, please? You know, it was just like, sorry for my lack of language, but what the fuck is this? You know, I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. But it hit home, and obviously
Yeah.
being offered this role in the Middle East of okay, at first it started at £30 an hour, and I was like, well, I could do PTZ for £30 an hour. Then it went to 45, then it went to 60, then it went to 72, and I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to get £72 an hour here in the UK, so I don't want to fight no more. I might as well take it, take a new lease of life. I've had a bit of turmoil. Sod it, let's go. packed my bags,
Wow.
went,
Yeah. And
lived,
and that's
lived in
you at
a
what?
beautiful apartment. Sorry, I lost you there.
That's you at 27, 28?
That was around 25, 25,
Tw-
26.
Yeah, okay. All
Yeah.
right. So it was fairly soon after, then kicked in, took this leap again, went over to UAE. During this period then, what was the hardest part for you? I mean, you're working, normal job, like you're saying, no one's calling your name out except to go to the office. What, what was that like?
To be honest, mate, it was probably the most soul destroying part of my life because it took away the shimmer of my light. It took away that shine. It took away what I was since 2008. You know, it
Yeah,
took away. I was walking around with a freaking high vis jacket on and a safety helmet, going, "Oh, do this, do that." And yeah, do you know what it was? It was progression. I went from just packing boxes and dealing with orders to managing a team and all this stuff, but it wasn't. There was no adrenaline to it. There was no get up and go. Oh, look at me! I'm excited to go to work. Nah, man. You know, it. I think I was my own worst enemy.
yeah,
Well, I'm not. I don't think I know I was my own worst enemy. I think that was the hardest part, and I think that's what I speak for myself. But I think that's again, like I said, that was my hardest part. But I think a lot of people are their own worst enemy.
yeah, mhm,
You know, and
yeah.
there's help there, but you ridicule yourself so much. You've
Right.
got such a your brain is naturally meant to be okay. I can't do this. I can't do that. It'll find the easiest way out. If the easiest way out is not doing it, then that's the easiest way out, isn't it? But you've got to rewire your brain. I think I did that. I did that by moving to the UAE and resetting and setting up everything. Because within 18 months, that was a very hard 18 months. I slept on the floor, slept on an airbed,
Hmm.
and then I bought my own bed. It was like such. I was like, holy shit! I bought my own bed. I lived on like porridge and water and eggs for like 6 months because it was hard. It was hard.
And so you're saying it
This is
was
where I'm
hard.
saying it went crazy.
Yeah, go on because you've been invited over to UAE to
Yeah.
well, I guess to be a personal trainer. Why was it hard? Weren't you being looked after or sort of set up?
Well, see, the ideology was that I was going to go. I was going to have like how many this clients ready, blah blah blah. I got there. There was no clients ready, so I had to make my own base. I had to make my own foundation of clients and just push, 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 push. And I ended up doing good. I ended up doing all right.
Yeah. How did you
But
know?
then,
How do you know what to do then? Because this is you setting up your business. Did you look back as to what your team was doing for you when you were a fighter in terms of marketing and promo and getting client? I mean, how did you know? Hey, you're basically building your own business again.
yeah, I had to build my own brand again. And that's a good thing in such a job. What I play as a personal trainer, coach, whatever you want to call it. About you end up becoming part of the community. So it ends up becoming a lot of word of mouth. And the same as goes as when you're in the ring. Oh, go watch Brad, go watch Ryan. He's brilliant at his game. Go watch him. You'll actually enjoy sitting there watching him, and you'll want to. And it comes like that. It ends up coming like to the point where that this coach is really good. He helps my kid. He's helped even with his school now. And I mean, I'm not academically strong, but I put the discipline in place, and it's kids have gone from D's and 60%, like 40% average, going up to 60%, getting C's and B's and stuff. And it's just they parents want that these days. So I
Yeah.
end
So
up
what were you doing?
branding
What do you
myself around that.
what do you think you did or brought that had that kind of success? Because I get a sense that wasn't what you were intending to come as an outcome, but you seem to find out, hey, I happen to be good at this.
I think I kind of understood about just fizzling out the shit. again, sorry to say it that way, but you know, same was the warehouse. It was kind of like you had to fizzle out the crap so you could understand who's good, who's bad, who's not, who's better at this than they are at this. And I kind of understood that in the UAE, like having adult clients, some of them, 60-70% of them are really dedicated to the cause of like, yes, I want to do something, but majority of them, it's just like, oh, I've got a personal trainer. One day you'll cancel, the next day they'll do the session. The next day they'll do the session only for 30 minutes and then they'll sit on the phone. Whereas kids, yes, it's exhausting, but it's a rewarding exhausting, you know, because you walk away as again with a bounce in your step, because these kids are just, Coach, can you teach me how to do this spinning back kick? Coach, can you teach me how to do this spinning this jump knee? What you did? Oh, Coach, I watched you fight. Can you do this? Can you show me how to do this combination? What you did on this guy? They start imitating you. They start following you, and then, you know, I used to have a rule, like, obviously you've got to make your bed. You have to say your please and thank yous, and you've got to do good at school. And these, it kind of grew around the community that I was the fixer. I was a kid fixer, so it branded myself like that.
Yeah, but
Still do.
Interestingly, that's similar to what you had as a young fighter, where to train you needed to stay in school, to train you needed to be going to college, right up until you turned pro.
Yeah,
and you know, and so giving that back in that way without even realizing it, you are passing on what you'd learned, indeed what helped make you successful. So you're building this business. It's off your brand. It's off you. You're getting success. When you started the business, or when you started to realize, hey, this is good, did you have a vision as to where it would get to?
Not at all. The first Thai boxing gym, we called it Kingdom X, because my dad was like, mate, when you're in that ring, you got to be the king of the ring. So I was like, well, one day I'm going to have my own kingdom. And again, obviously, when you going back to that fight career, you have a following, people that come to you beckoning call. Mm-hmm. It's not that I took advantage of it, it's just that I loved it. So I was like, right, well, I'm going to make my own kingdom in the UAE, and I'm going to have it in my gym. And I had about 27 fighters. And just doing so good, man. So good. And I loved it. And then again, that burnout came, the stress of not understanding the gym and the dynamics and the business dynamics and stuff. And just, I couldn't do it anymore.
How did you realize things were falling apart?
Things fall apart just when I didn't really realise when customers were saying it, were like, oh, Coach, come back, why are you not teaching no more? But it was more so like, I started seeing my family fall apart. I was fighting with my kids, I was fighting with my wife. We would have conversations where it would just be about business. And it was just like, what am I doing? I made this gym because I wanted freedom, but I've become a slave to the gym. And I've not even been able to exercise myself. So what am I doing? Mm-hmm. I had business partners that were a bit too aggressive. And I was just like, one of them threatened to fire me. And I was like, are you for real? You want to you're threatening to fire me? I'm the face of this gym. I was like, I'm the energy of this gym. You threatened me, you've got no business. Obviously, that's when the fighter in me kicked in. I was like, you know what, sod you, see you later. Picked up my equipment and went out. But at the same time, my wife was still 50% part owner, you know. So just like, I have to go back and ride the river for a little bit, but we'll fizzle it out. And we gradually just fizzled the gym out to the point where that we ended up closing it, and then that was it.
And so,
Lesson learned.
how, well, what's the lesson?
Don't trust anybody with your own baby. Because the moment you send it off to someone else, they'll take advantage of it and they'll manipulate it to, to what they can do beneficial with it. But it's
Yeah.
still your brand, it's still your vision, it's still your game, it's still your trade. You're the one who
Hmm.
made it. You know, it should have stayed on that path, and it didn't. It got rooted up, and it got sent to some different way, and people started spouting and being too confident about something where it was all reliable on one vision, which they had no sense of. You know, and it was just
Yeah.
like
Yeah. I mean,
time
it's
to go.
interesting.
See you.
I mean, it had to go because, I mean, part of that is you getting stretched, like you say, too thinly, from the success that you had meant you were being pulled into different opportunities at different times. And all of those, I suppose, depending on you being the individual there, bringing, like you say, your energy, bringing your style, um, in order for it to be successful.
Yep. And it was one of the things what I tried doing was like I understood one thing was that you can't make the same person. You'll never like if you come under my wing now and you start training under me, I can't make you 100% Brad Stanton, but I can make you 65, 75% of Brad
Mm.
Stanton, and then the remaining is your personality. The
Yeah.
remaining is how you act. The remaining is how you speak. And I have to let your personality speak for my vision in your own way. And if I don't do that and I become too much of an aggressive mentor, you're going to
Hmm.
fold.
Yeah.
If you don't have the grit to stick it through, you're going to fold. So therefore, my vision's folded. You've folded.
Yeah.
So what's happening? My business just goes down.
Hmm.
And I think I didn't understand that back then.
Right.
Now I do.
Yeah. Because
So
back then, what was the intention? And the intention was to have everybody replicate
back
or be you.
pretty much, yeah. Back then it was so much on becoming number one
Hmm.
and being. I said that I said to myself I wanted to be the father of Muay Thai in the Middle East. I wanted to be the guy that changed it,
Hmm.
and I was getting there. But I got there. I went stagnant. I burnt out, and I couldn't get myself
Yeah.
back up again because
So,
my team weren't. Me and my team were just not there anymore. We weren't connected.
mhm. So where have you been since then? Right. I know now we're just, we're at the point of this new venture. What's happened? How
So
did you how you refound an energy then?
I what? I joined the gym in. I've been since then. Since I closed Kingdom X with my wife, I joined. I've had three jobs. I was a manager of a gym, a boxing gym, a boxing only gym in Dubai, and that that just didn't come. It didn't kick off. I literally would sit on the floor for 8 hours of the day, not doing anything. The gym wasn't being able to open because of the municipality was not given the approval to do so. So I was like, what do I do? I'm just sat here, and to be honest, I didn't want to. I didn't. Me personally, I didn't want to take money off someone for not if I wasn't working for it. So I was just like, look, mate, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather go work, take less of a salary, and work on the personal training commission and absolute graft to the bone, and be honoured when I receive my salary.
Hmm.
So I left. I went to a gym in a mall, and within like the 3 months, I was absolutely smashing it. And then loads of people were like, "Why are you not doing your own gym? Please open get your own gym again and all this sort of stuff." And I always wanted to open my own gym again, and but it had to change. Thai boxing had gone down. The martial arts scene itself had gone down a little bit, and I just was like, if I'm going to do my gym, how can I incorporate something what I love so much, i.e., Thai boxing, into this facility, into this business, where I can still do something what I love on a day-to-day basis, but still protect my family, serve my family, and prepare for the worst future I can ever assume, by being successful. And then it just came to me. It was like, why I need to look at the well-being. And currently now, the well-being, the GDP of the UAE are leading with well-being and wellness by like 13%. You know, and
It's off.
it's just smashing it.
Yeah.
So,
And
sorry, I lost you there.
I was going to say, yeah, it is booming from a well-being perspective. We've certainly seen a lot of that. I'm seeing a lot of those coming out of the UAE, Middle East.
You've got like you've got business brunches. What used to happen in New York and London, they're not going for that no more. They're going to spin classes and they're going to ice bath therapy sessions and stuff like this. And it's, man, if a bunch of suits can jump in an ice bath, talk about business and all that stuff, eventually the community is going to follow. You know, and again, like I said, the UAE are leading by, last month it was 13.6% in the well-being aspect. And here, basically, what happens is when big government entities hire thousands of people, they go on like lifestyle membership schemes. So we have several. There's Fazar, there's Royal, there's Privily, and what happens is the company will buy a membership package, say 50 memberships from Privily or from Royal, and they'll give it to their employees. But what Royal or Privily or ADM or ADV, do is they'll go to different companies, different businesses, and say, right, give us a discount or give us a free membership, and we'll pay you for X amount of memberships, but you've got to let anybody in. So, for example, like you've come to me and went, right, okay, Brad, Riverside want to buy 50 memberships, but you've got to let anybody from Riverside in. Like, okay. So for 1 year, you've paid 50 memberships. There's an excess, so if 52 come in that month, you have to pay a little bit extra for the two extra people. But the year after, I can then go, right, well, on average, 57 people came in. So you now have to pay me for 70 memberships, or I can negotiate.
Mm. Yeah.
And these companies, big government entities do that. So I've kind of got wind of it, jumped on it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just smashing it. Like, right, okay, come, give me this, give me that, give me that. But the gym itself is facing some hardships itself, that like permissions and permits and stuff. It's quite annoying. But we are like 90%. I'd probably say we're 95% ready to be open. We're just waiting for one permit.
Yeah.
Excuse
So
me, but we are. Sorry,
what'll be
go on.
different, as you step into this new world?
So yeah, so like I said, like obviously, like I wanted to do something what I still lived for, what I still loved, and which is Thai boxing. But then at the same time, make it a well-being facility, lifestyle membership. So I've got this unit. It's 600 square meters. It's called Synergy Wellbeing in Mazda City. This Mazda City is like a sustainable, renewable energy area of the UAE, and I've got my ice baths, I've got my infrared saunas, I've got my Muay Thai classes, which are going to be taught by me, obviously. I've got
Hmm.
boxing classes, and then I've got my functional fitness, like not high rocks, not CrossFit, but but we're calling it synergized because we're putting it all in one, and we're just gonna
Yeah, I
bang
like it.
one big class. And if you follow the program, you are gonna see results.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it again, I said I wanted to be back in the day of my old gym. I wanted to be the father of Muay Thai. It wasn't that I wanted to be walking around like, look at me, I'm the boss of Muay Thai. It was I wanted to be I wanted the community to see that Muay Thai is beneficial. And the
Right.
same goes here. Same
Yeah.
goes with Synergy Wellbeing.
Hmm.
And
You voice. You're being the voice of Muay Thai as much as anything. It's like you say. It's not just about you being not just about you. It's actually about bringing the sport to others and seeing how that can help them impact, indeed improve their life.
yeah, yeah. Um, what else? So here, it's extortionate to do such things. If you want to go join your full family up to the gym, you're paying a lot of money. And community is can be a massive thing here because Abu Dhabi's huge. Like for example, if my wife wants to go to the office to work, she has to drive 1 hour, 60 kilos to drive to work.
Mhm.
So the community is so far out that
Mm. Mhm.
there's facilities that don't complement it. So I want to be the business that brings the community together, has a
Right.
has sees improvements in lifestyle, lowers the risk of diabetes in Emirati people, in the local people, deals with anxiety and stress, and at the same time, I'm not charging you an arm and a leg to do it, you know.
Mhm. I love
And
that.
it was funny because the other day I was saying to, obviously, I'm trying to learn how to trade as well, and the guy who was coaching me is like, he lives in Dubai, he's mega successful, inshallah, and he's given out all free training. He doesn't he doesn't charge anybody. He's opened up like 10 training facilities in the UK free of charge. If you want to do a personal training session with you, it costs you 50 quid. But he doesn't put it on you. He doesn't force it on you. He just says, if you want to do it, you can do it. If you're not, come use the computers, learn how to trade, get on with it. There's going to be someone there to help you if you need.
Hmm.
And it was like, I turned around to him and I was like, mate, you're the modern day Robin Hood. And I was just like, shit, I want to do that for Muay Thai, for martial arts and for the community, for well-being, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
And it fits so much, you know? I don't see, obviously, fighting I loved, and it was such an output for me,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize at the time that I was making so many people happy. I was making so many kids inspired and motivated to go try Muay Thai and stuff. And I kind of realized like it was it was better for me to give back and to help others
Yes. Yeah.
than just to take. You know, I felt better as a human being, as a man, as a father, as a husband. If I can give, I'm a better human being. I feel better in myself. You know, I can go to bed at peace and wake up with a smile on my face. You know,
Yeah. And
and
Brad, it's great.
for me, that's success for me. You know, I don't care if I ever drive a Ferrari, mate. I genuinely don't care. You know.
But the that definition of success for you, it isn't to be that single world champion, isn't to be, top of the mountain in, or at least what you've defined is what is the kingdom that you want to be a king of, and it isn't to you for you to be up at the top of the tree beating your chest, but it's actually for everyone else to be, participating, to be a central cog in that community. And I think that, just
Yeah,
hearing that is excellent. So I guess, Brad,
I,
it
I
gets me
I
to.
don't think.
Oh,
Go,
no,
sorry.
go on, go on. No, you go ahead.
No, no, go for it. Go for it.
Now, listen, I was more just sort of bringing it round, really, just to understand, from you, because I've taken up a great amount of your time, and I've really enjoyed the conversation,
Oh,
and
good.
I suppose I'm interested in that last point, or the sort of last points when you think about what I guess Muay Thai and sport in itself has given to you when you look at people who are going through their career, certainly,
Mm.
following in your footsteps in many respects. What do you think from your experience will best help them as they transition into that life beyond sport? And you've made some big decisions when you walked away from the sport, moving to UAE, closing down that initial business. you've made some of those bold decisions. What advice would you give to others?
I think the first thing you need to do if you're going to go and set out your own business is get a financial risk manager. That is one of my business partners is a financial risk manager, and he has helped me so much. He's not very attentive right now because he doesn't need to be. But in the path of leading to synergy well-being, understanding where and what and how and why these finances need to be allocated is a massive learning curve. And I didn't have that in my previous gym with my wife. We didn't have that. And even though we were successful, we could have been a lot more successful, like a hell of a lot more successful. But for the first thing is definitely get a financial risk manager involved. If you can't get him as a partner or give him a profit share, hire him. Hire him. It's the best investment you can do. Your second one would be live every day of your work career and your personal life with the passion you've got for your dream. You know what I'm saying? So just because you've got this dream and it could be 5 years down the line, you've got to live with that every day. You've got to envision it every day. You've got to tell yourself that you are going to achieve that every day, because the moment you have one negative thought of like, I've had it, I'll hold my hands up very clearly, I didn't think this gym was going to be open, and we're still not open. But we've got one inspection, and that's it, we're open. So I'm like, we're going to get it. Yes, I've lost my head a couple of times, as everyone does. We live with emotion, but live with the passion, what you have for that dream, whether it be 5 years, 1 year, 10 years down the line. Live with it every day and envision that you are going to succeed with it every day. Without that, you cannot succeed. You are your worst enemy, and if you think negative, then you're a goner. You've failed at day one.
Brad, I've got to say thanks. I think those are two good points, and it's interesting in the way that they contrast. One, understand the numbers, or get someone in who can help you understand the numbers, and I guess have a dream and believe in it, and keep working towards it. Have that resilience that even if you have a negative thought or a setback, you can get back up and you can make it happen.
Yeah, you can always make it happen. You can always get back up. It's again, you're your worst enemy.
Yeah. Look, Brad, people are going to journey. They're going to want to see what you're up to. Check out when the gym is open. What's the best place? Where's the best place to find you and follow you?
Best place is the Instagram, Synergy Wellbeing UAE, all one word. And it's not just going to be Synergy Wellbeing for the UAE. We've got talks with investment in Brazil. We've got talks of investment in Thailand as well. So it will be something. It will be. And you never know. Maybe you could be on one of the retreats one day, because we are looking at worldwide retreats. So
mate, I'm ready.
we can do. Anytime Middle East, mate, please pop over. We'll smash out a session, and I'll show you Thai boxing as well.
Yeah. You have to go gentle on me, but yeah, I'll be up for that. I'll be up for that, definitely. Listen, Brad, once again, say that again, Brad. I missed that.
Then you're more than welcome anytime, mate. And thank you for having me on the show. It was great.
No, too easy. Thanks for bringing your perspective. Really enjoyed our chat, learning a bit more about yourself, and certainly the journey that you are currently on. And I love the circles of perspective that you brought. So massive thanks, Brad.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.